like Jason Brodeur, who is the president pro tempore here in the Florida Senate, and he's joining us right now on Florida's Voice. It's Drew Steele. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
It is it's a different feel in the state of Florida, I would say today, as it's been the past couple of days. It feels really good. Congratulations to you, and I know you are someone who is ready to do the hard work and get going there in the next legislative session. Which it's so funny because I talk to people, and it's interesting how close it is, right? You think it's something that's going to be happening a long time from now because of everything we've just done, and then you look at your watch and you're like, wait a second, it's like right around the corner. So a lot of great things going on.
And it's really only a couple of weeks away before we do organizational session, and then of
Right.
course we have our first committee week in December. And you're right. I think for so long all summer people have been saying, "Well, what are we going to do next session?" And in your head you think, "Well, that's not until March. That's so far away, and we've got all these elections to do." And you had the primaries, and primaries very quickly became the generals, and there was so much in the general, nationally, statewide, locally, that now that we've had a chance to exhale, you go, oh wait, it's only 2 weeks away from org session, and then we're right after Thanksgiving. We're right into our first committee week, so we are going to start getting going very quickly. I know we've been planning stuff all summer, and so we're very excited to continue to make Florida the number one destination in America. I think this last election showed that the way we're governing and what we're doing, and even today earlier, I heard the Senate President of Arizona say that they need to start doing laws a lot more like Florida for voting laws. We have 23 million
Oh,
people, and we get our results out 15 minutes after the polls close. Um, there are
yeah.
other states that wait to count their mail-in ballots, start counting their mail-in ballots until election day themselves. And if their state legislature would allow, and they had a process like we did, they could have all those ballots counted by 7:01 p.m.
I have to admit that sometimes I don't know how you do it. How is it that you have all of this that's going on here in the state, all these positive things, the legislature, the way the Senate works, and with the governor and the work that everything has been, the way the work's been done here, the positive things that have happened, the results, and even when it comes to voting and what we do here in the state, how you do it, how you get all that done, and then you look to other states and you see what they're doing. Like, it would drive me crazy. It would drive me nuts because I would want to be like, why are you not? It's okay. You could come talk to us. Come visit me. Like, I could imagine you.
Yeah.
Like, if I could say, come visit me. I'll talk to you. Whatever state. I'll show you what we do here. I'll show you how we're getting it done because we want to be helpful. And the fact that
And
they
that's
recognize
part
that,
of
right?
it.
Yeah.
It's the most common conversation I had over the last 2 weeks was everybody said, why is it that it's going to take so long for Pennsylvania and Wisconsin to count their votes?
Right.
And I said, well, it's funny because between Texas and Florida, we've got about 60 million folks. And by 10 p.m., we'll know the outcomes of our race. Those two states have it so that they don't start counting their ballots until that day. And so I think what would be helpful, and really, this has been 24 years coming. When we got embarrassed in the 2000 election with hanging chads and all that, we started on this process to say we need the most transparent, fastest, most fair election process so that everyone has confidence that no matter the outcome, everyone had a chance to have their say, and we know the results immediately so that nobody thinks that a 3 day delay is a chance to see how many you need to go find, and then they go find them. Because I
Right.
think there are instances where people could say, well, in certain states, we think that it cost them 3 days because they were looking for extra bags of ballots. If
Yeah.
you publish your results at 7:15, 8 o'clock, even 10 o'clock, it's a lot less likely that people will lack the confidence that they should have in the voting process. And so for me, the last 2 weeks were about explaining to Floridians who think it's just common sense the way we do it. And you go, yeah, but not every state has to do it the way we do it. And so we would love it if states like Arizona or Wisconsin or Michigan or Pennsylvania would copy our laws. And as we continue to make improvements, we hate to tinker with too much stuff, but as we find in uncontemplated situations that could strengthen the transparency and the speed at which we do this, we'd love to entertain that, and we'd love to help our colleagues.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And my biggest fear has always been, before we move on, with when it comes to the way we do things here, is that other states and for me and what I'll just say Democrats, they ruin everything. They ruin all. You can't have nice things. You can't have nice things because they ruin it. And I just don't want them to ruin the nice things that we have here in the state. That's just me speaking. Okay, I won't say anything more about that. But I do want to ask this question because I think it's important that people understand. You know, you've talked about the organizational sessions that are going to be happening and obviously committees. But the sessions that you'll be having, maybe there are people that don't know what that means. Like they're not really sure what's coming. Like what is that all about? For those that don't know the
Sure.
process by which you have these things happening there in Tallahassee.
Sure. So we constitutionally, every 2 years, we have a new leadership structure that comes in. You'll get a new Speaker of the House and you get a new Senate President. And part of what we need to do is organize in order to let those presiding officers be able to run their respective chambers. And so what we do during organizational session is we both formally elect our leaders as well as we pass our joint rules so that we understand the rules of the road about how it is that we're going to make motions, how it is we're going to cure amendments, how it is we're going to perfect them, and how it is we're going to pass them. And so legally, we have some rules between not only within our own chamber, but across chambers as joint sessions. And we want to formalize those to make sure at the outset, before we hear our first bill, everyone knows the rules of the road. And so that's that first week we come back. The next time we come back, we can actually get down to business, which means you'll have your committee assignments. You'll show up Tuesday at 10 o'clock at some room in the Capitol, and you'll be hearing about regulated industries or commerce or education or healthcare. And that's when we'll do a handful of things to start. Number one is we'll hear from the government agencies, such as transportation or healthcare administration or elder affairs, about what they've been up to the last year since we were in last session and we gave the budget and what they want to do for the next year. The second thing we'll do is we have the ability to start hearing any bills that have been filed so far. Now, because we just had an election, there aren't many bills drafted. Bill drafting doesn't draft bills for people who aren't elected yet. So we are now just starting to be eligible as of this week to start putting things in bill drafting, to start getting together our ideas about what we'd like to start tackling in March. Starting in December, we may be eligible to do that, but my guess is we'll probably just hear from agencies and talk about the work of each committee as we go forward. Then starting in January committee meeting, we'll get down to business. We'll start hearing from panels. We'll probably start hearing bills. And that's in preparation of getting all bills in a posture to start to be heard on the floor, which means we've amended them, we've debated them in committees, we've gotten them through a handful, and we're now looking at having the final passage of those things come March when we formally open up the session.
Excellent. All right. Well, that's great information. Good to know. We're up against a hard break, so we've got to go right now. But I hope that we can have you back soon. I would love to talk more
Of
in
course.
detail
Thanks for
about some of
having
the
me,
other.
Drew. I
Yeah,
love it.
no, fantastic. All right. All the best, sir. We appreciate you. God
Thank
bless.
you
We'll
much.
speak soon. Okay. All right. We'll see you soon. There he goes.